Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. The new look Champions League began with one-legged ties in the quarterfinals as Atalanta faced PSG in Lisbon. Two great offensive teams faced off in a heavily anticipated match as Gasperini pit his wits against Tuchel, and in the end, PSG came out on top 2-1 thanks to goals by Marquinhos and Choupo-Moting, whilst PSG netted for Atalanta. The XG indicated it was a deserved win, 2.45 to 0.5. But what tactics did both managers use? Let's take a look. A special shout out to everyone who's been able to support Football Made Simple on Patreon so far. If you want to help the channel, I'd love it if you considered supporting on patreon.com/footballmadesimple, and you'll get perks like early access to videos, exclusive content, and so much more. A quick reminder of the formations used by both sides, as seen on the OneFootball app. OneFootball will get you match updates, formation updates, as well as player and team stats, and so much more. And the best part is, you can get it absolutely free through the sponsored link in the description below. Let's start by looking at what Atalanta did with the ball. At times, Atalanta did look to begin the play from deeper regions on the pitch. However, PSG often pressed effectively, often marking the central centre-back and looking to shepherd the ball out into the wide centre-back, who would then have less options. As a result, Atalanta were forced into quite a few long balls. On the right, PSG would often drop deep to be the option, whilst Hateboer running in beyond would often create space for him to win the ball in the air, and as a result, PSG won 4 aerial duels. As we discussed in our previous video, covering Atalanta's tactics over the whole season, they prefer to attack through the wide regions, and the stats show that this is what they did during this match. Gomez played in behind PSG and Zapata, so they were primed to move into wider regions, whilst from here, Gomez could support either side. They would often operate in packs of 4 around the pitch, involving a wide centre-back, the wing-back, a forward and the central midfielder, as shown in the average positions. And PSG would often shift across to try and quell the danger, but both forwards were powerful and made constant runs into the channel, often supported by the wing-backs. Gomez would then move wide to be the extra unmarked number, and often, when he received the ball, he would look to get the cross in to the far side forward, and he attempted 12 crosses including set pieces in his time on the pitch. Importantly, when Atalanta overloaded one side, they always left good numbers on the opposite side for the switch. But from deeper regions, their centre-backs often looked to disrupt the opposition defensive lines by making runs into the midfield and swapping with the central midfielder and causing temporary disruption in the opponent's shape. And this plays into a major tactic for Atalanta, who in the default shape would have the man disadvantage. They looked to counter this through a few temporary movements. The first was Gomez dropping deeper, however, this reduced the effectiveness of the front line. So instead, especially with the ball to one side, a centre-back could move up into midfield and beyond to become the third midfielder. Alternatively, PSG could drop into the space whilst Hateboer pushed beyond to either take a marker away from him or take advantage of the space beyond. We see shades of this in the Atalanta goal. They once again have the ball in wide regions, and De Roon and Gomez, who is dropped deeper, are both occupied, so Toloi makes the run from deeper into the space. He continues the run infield, drawing Bernat, and PSG has held his width as usual, and when the ball breaks free, he finishes unerringly. But as the game progressed, especially after Gomez came off, Atalanta lost not only the link between midfield and attack, but also the link between the right and the left. As a result, they couldn't progress the ball well and looked leggy. But what did PSG do with the ball? Whenever PSG looked to play out, Atalanta would press fairly high with a forward on each centre-back, whilst Papu Gomez initially looked to sit on Marquinhos. PSG had a few different ways they could look to play out of this. First, they could draw the Atalanta press even higher by dropping their own midfielders even deeper, which would draw De Roon and Freuler deeper and open up the space between the lines. Neymar played primarily central and would drop into the space to look to pick up the ball. The fact is, Atalanta playing 3 versus 3 at the back caused themselves problems, as a centre-back had to follow Neymar to stop him from getting on the turn. But on the occasions where he could flick the ball onto a teammate or turn, this caused Atalanta problems as they would be a man light. This led to a massive chance for Neymar early on, which he missed. But another tactic they used when pressed high was dropping Kehrer deep to be the third option, and Gosens was aggressive in following his man deep. Herrera would then push wide, and the central midfielder could be hesitant to follow, as this would leave them light in the middle. And if he did, one of the front three would then drop into the space created to get on the ball. And because Atalanta pressed so high, they had a high defensive line without much pace, which caused them consistent problems, especially on the left-hand side. When Neymar was on the ball in these deeper regions, he was unplayable at times, completing an eye-watering 16 dribbles and often eliminating the midfield line completely and running at the defense. So, Atalanta had to be aggressive in pressing him, often meaning a centre-back pushing out of position, so a simple 1-2 could send PSG behind the Atalanta line, which happened a few times. Alternatively, he could look for the direct pass into the space, which also bore fruit. Once Mbappe came on, this turned Atalanta's problem from bad to worse, as he enjoyed space behind the high line. PSG could even play into his feet, and 1 versus 1 against Hateboer, Mbappe used his pace to get in behind towards the byline for crosses and shots consistently, with 3 shots and a key pass as well as the assist. And we see shades of this in Choupo-Moting's goal. Neymar gets on the ball on the inside left channel, and they are 2 versus 1 against the centre-back with space in behind. So Neymar plays a perfectly weighted ball into the pace of Mbappe, who can then square the assist to Choupo-Moting for the goal. Atalanta had tried to deal with the high line problem by staggering their centre-backs and using somewhat of a sweeper, but this only served to lower the offside line, so it wasn't the most effective strategy. Overall, the underdog didn't quite have enough to get over the line, with their players fading badly in the second half. But how do you think PSG will do going forwards? Where do they rank amongst your favourites? Drop it down below. And a special thanks as always to my Patreons for helping to make this possible: Andrew Gross, Hamad Alfazi, Vince Campagna, Edgar Stewart and Joey Jenkins. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.